Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple quarter, only to discover it's worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars. Sounds unbelievable? Yet some of the rarest US quarter-dollar coins have sold for life-changing amounts because of tiny minting errors, low mintages, and extraordinary condition. Have you ever paid for a cup of coffee, handed over a handful of quarters, and never thought about them again? What if one of those ordinary-looking coins could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Every single day, millions of Americans spend pocket change without realizing that some of those coins are being hunted by collectors willing to pay astonishing amounts of money. That's the difference between a spender and a collector. One person sees 25 cents. The other sees a potential life-changing discovery. Today, we're uncovering one of the most talked about modern coins in American numismatics, the 1999 Georgia State Quarter. While most examples are only worth face value, a tiny number featuring extraordinary minting errors and exceptional preservation have become legendary among serious collectors. Some of these remarkable coins have generated incredible excitement in the marketplace, with elite error coins and top-condition examples reaching extraordinary values, including reported estimates as high as $634,000 under exceptional circumstances. Before you dismiss the quarters hiding in your drawer, your wallet, or that forgotten coin jar, stay with me, because the next few minutes could completely change the way you look at your spare change forever. The 1999 Georgia State Quarter was one of the very first releases in the historic 50-state quarters program, a series that transformed coin collecting across America. Produced by the United States Mint, the coin celebrates Georgia's rich heritage with its famous peach, majestic live oak branches, and the state motto, wisdom, justice, moderation. Billions of these quarters entered circulation from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, while proof versions were struck in San Francisco specifically for collectors. At first glance, nothing about this quarter seems extraordinary. It appears to be just another modern coin that millions of people have handled countless times. Yet hidden among those billions are a handful of spectacular mistakes that continue to fascinate experts and collectors around the world. Here's where the story becomes truly fascinating. Modern minting technology is remarkably precise, making significant errors extremely uncommon. When something goes wrong during production, those mistakes can instantly transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary collectible. The rarer the mistake, the greater the interest from collectors. That is why experienced numismatists spend countless hours examining rolls of quarters under powerful magnification. They understand something the average person does not. Valuable treasures often look surprisingly ordinary until the smallest details are carefully inspected. Before we continue, here's something you should do right now. Pause for just a moment and think about where you keep your spare change. Is there a jar sitting on a shelf? A forgotten coffee can in the garage? Maybe a bowl near the front door filled with coins collected over the years. Those forgotten quarters could be far more interesting than you ever imagined. One of the most desirable characteristics found on some 1999 Georgia quarters is a dramatic off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not perfectly aligned between the dies during the striking process. Instead of receiving a centered image, part of the design is missing while the remaining details are shifted noticeably toward one side. Minor off-center strikes may carry only modest premiums, but dramatic examples with clear dates and visible designs are significantly more desirable. The combination of rarity, eye appeal, and strong demand has made these coins favorites among advanced collectors. Another error that captures tremendous attention is the double strike. In these unusual cases, the coin receives more than one impression from the dies because it fails to exit the striking chamber correctly. The result is an overlapping image that instantly stands out to anyone familiar with normal coin designs. Depending on the severity and clarity of the second strike, values can increase dramatically, especially when the error is authenticated by respected grading services. Collectors also search for broad-struck quarters. A broad strike occurs when the retaining collar fails to hold the planchet securely during the strike. Without that collar, the metal spreads outward, producing a coin that appears wider than normal and lacks the standard raised rim. These dramatic errors are highly recognizable and often command impressive premiums because they are genuine mint mistakes rather than damage caused after the coin left the mint. Now here's a question that surprises many people. Have you ever looked at a quarter and assumed every scratch or unusual mark made it valuable? That's one of the biggest misconceptions in coin collecting. Most scratches, dents, discoloration, and flattened edges are simply post-mint damage. True mint errors occur during the manufacturing process itself. Learning the difference between genuine mint errors and everyday wear is one of the most valuable skills any collector can develop. Die cracks and retained die breaks represent another fascinating category of mint errors. Over time, enormous striking pressure causes coin dies to develop fractures. Those fractures transfer raised lines onto the coins they produce. While tiny die cracks are relatively common, larger and more dramatic breaks create unusual raised features that attract collector attention. Some examples become famous because every coin produced from that damaged die tells the story of the die slowly failing under incredible pressure. Die chips and cut errors are equally exciting. When a small portion of the die breaks away, extra metal fills the missing space during striking, leaving raised blobs or unusual shapes on the finished coin. Certain cut errors become instantly recognizable and can achieve remarkable popularity among error specialists, particularly when they occur on widely collected series like the state quarters. Here's another attention check. If you've been casually listening while your spare change sits nearby, now might be the perfect time to grab a quarter and examine it closely. Even if you don't discover a rare error today, developing the habit of careful observation is exactly how many successful collectors begin their journey. Condition is another factor that cannot be overstated. Even without spectacular mint errors, the finest known examples of the 1999 Georgia quarter can command substantial premiums when preserved in exceptional mint state grades. Professional grading services evaluate every tiny detail, including strike quality, luster, surface preservation, and eye appeal. A coin that appears flawless under magnification may earn an elite grade that separates it from millions of ordinary examples. The difference between one grade and the next can represent thousands of dollars in market value. Proof versions deserve special attention as well. Produced primarily for collectors using specially prepared dies and polished planchets, proof coins display mirror-like fields and frosted design elements. Although proof quarters are not intended for circulation, occasional escaped proof coins and proof errors generate tremendous excitement within the numismatic community. Their rarity often attracts intense competition whenever they appear at auction. Authentication plays a critical role in today's marketplace. Because high-value coins attract counterfeiters and altered pieces, experienced buyers rarely spend significant amounts without certification from trusted grading companies. Professional authentication verifies both the coin's authenticity and its condition, giving buyers greater confidence and helping establish accurate market values. Now let's talk about the number that captures everyone's attention. Could a 1999 Georgia quarter really be worth as much as $634,000? Under ordinary circumstances, absolutely not. The overwhelming majority of these quarters remain worth only their face value or modest collector premiums. However, the coin market has repeatedly demonstrated that exceptionally rare mint errors, unique combinations of striking anomalies, or the finest known certified examples can achieve extraordinary prices when rarity, demand, historical importance, and intense bidding competition come together. These headline-grabbing sales represent the absolute pinnacle of the market rather than the typical value of an average circulated quarter. That's exactly why collectors remain fascinated. Every remarkable auction reminds people that hidden treasures occasionally emerge from places no one expects. A forgotten coin album inherited from a relative. An unopened bank roll stored for decades. A handful of pocket change overlooked for years. While such discoveries are undeniably rare, they continue to happen often enough to keep the excitement alive throughout the collecting community. Imagine discovering that one unusual quarter sitting quietly among hundreds of ordinary coins. It isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill of recognizing something others overlooked. That feeling of turning over a coin, spotting an unusual feature, researching its history, and realizing you've uncovered something genuinely special is what keeps millions of collectors passionate year after year. Coin collecting has always rewarded patience more than luck. Experienced collectors understand that knowledge creates opportunity. The more you study minting processes, grading standards, die varieties, and authenticated errors, the more confident you become when evaluating coins. Every expert started by examining ordinary change, learning one detail at a time until rare discoveries became easier to recognize. The current collector market remains highly competitive for exceptional modern era coins. As more people become interested in numismatics, demand for certified rarities continues to grow. At the same time, truly significant mint errors remain incredibly scarce because they were uncommon from the moment they were created. Basic economics takes over. When demand increases while supply remains limited, remarkable coins naturally attract stronger prices. Before you spend another quarter, ask yourself one simple question. Have I really looked at it? That tiny piece of metal carries history, craftsmanship, and sometimes astonishing rarity. Most quarters will never be worth more than 25 cents, but the handful that break every rule continue to inspire collectors across the country to keep searching. The next time someone tells you that pocket change has no value beyond what's printed on it, remember the story of the 1999 Georgia State quarter. Hidden among billions of ordinary coins are extraordinary examples that remind us why curiosity matters. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't locked away in museum vaults. Sometimes they're quietly waiting in everyday places, overlooked by everyone except those willing to look a little closer. And this is only the beginning. In our next video, we'll reveal another ultra-rare American coin that has stunned collectors with extraordinary auction results and incredible mint errors that most people have never heard of. You won't want to miss it, because the next life-changing discovery could already be hiding in your pocket right now. Have you ever tossed a quarter onto a store counter without giving it a second thought? What if that ordinary-looking coin wasn't worth 25 cents at all? What if it was hiding a mistake so rare that collectors would be willing to pay thousands, or, under extraordinary circumstances involving a truly exceptional error and condition, even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Most people spend their change without ever looking at it. Collectors, however, understand that history, rarity, and minting mistakes can transform an everyday coin into an incredible discovery. That difference between a spender and a collector could mean the difference between losing a fortune and finding one. Today, we're uncovering the mystery behind the 2006 South Dakota State quarter, a coin that many Americans have handled but very few have ever examined closely. And before this video ends, you'll know exactly what to look for before another valuable quarter slips through your fingers forever. The United States Mint launched the 50 State Quarters program in 1999, creating one of the most successful coin programs in American history. Millions of people who had never collected coins suddenly began checking their pocket change, hoping to complete a full set representing every state. By the time South Dakota's design was released in 2006, the excitement had reached incredible levels. The coin honored the state's remarkable heritage with Mount Rushmore standing proudly in the background, a soaring ring-necked pheasant representing South Dakota's wildlife, and golden wheat symbolizing the state's rich agricultural traditions. It quickly became one of the most recognizable designs in the entire series. On the surface, the 2006 South Dakota quarter appears common because millions were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Most examples are worth only face value or a small premium in uncirculated condition. But hidden among those millions are a tiny number of extraordinary error coins that have become legendary among serious collectors. These are the coins that create headlines, spark bidding wars, and remind everyone why searching through pocket change is still one of America's favorite treasure hunts. Here's where the story becomes fascinating. Not every valuable coin is rare because of low mintage. Sometimes a coin becomes valuable because something went dramatically wrong during production. Every coin begins as a carefully prepared blank planchet before passing through enormous presses that strike the design with tremendous pressure. If even one part of that process fails, the result can be a unique error that may never happen again in exactly the same way. One of the most desirable errors associated with state quarters is the dramatic off-center strike. Imagine a blank planchet entering the coining press slightly out of position. Instead of receiving a perfectly centered image, part of the design is missing while a blank crescent remains visible. If the date is still present and the error is dramatic enough, collectors often compete aggressively for these unusual pieces because no two look exactly alike. Another highly sought-after variety involves broad strikes. These occur when the retaining collar that normally shapes the coin fails during striking. The quarter expands beyond its normal diameter, creating a wider appearance with distorted edges. While broad strikes are uncommon across all modern coinage, examples preserved in exceptional condition can command impressive premiums because they clearly demonstrate a spectacular mechanical failure inside the mint. Now stop for just a moment. If you have a jar of loose change sitting somewhere in your home, think about it. How many quarters have been sitting there for years without anyone checking them? Takes only a few seconds to look. That forgotten coin jar could be hiding something you've overlooked for a decade. Collectors also watch closely for double-struck coins. These remarkable errors happen when a coin receives more than one strike from the dies. Depending on how the coin shifts between strikes, the final appearance can show overlapping designs, duplicated lettering, or partially rotated images. Every double strike tells a unique story of what happened inside the minting press during those split seconds when machinery failed to perform perfectly. Then there are die cracks and retained die breaks. As coin dies wear out from striking hundreds of thousands of coins, tiny fractures can develop. Those cracks leave raised lines across the finished coin. In more advanced cases, larger pieces of the die begin breaking away, creating raised blobs or unusual features that should never exist on a normal quarter. Although many die cracks add only modest value, dramatic examples on desirable state quarters often attract collectors who specialize in mint errors. Another category that excites specialists is the clipped planchet error. Before coins are struck, large metal sheets are punched into circular blanks. Occasionally, one punch overlaps another, leaving part of the blank missing before it even reaches the press. The finished coin displays a curved section cut away from its edge. Authentic clipped planchets exhibit distinctive characteristics that experts can verify, making genuine examples especially desirable. Here's something many people never realize. A quarter doesn't have to look shiny to be valuable. Some of the most important discoveries appear worn because they circulated unnoticed for years. Experienced collectors examine every detail, not just the coin's brightness. Sometimes the smallest abnormality is worth far more than perfect-looking common coins. The condition of a coin plays an enormous role in determining its value. Professional grading services evaluate coins using the mint state grading scale, with MS-70 representing a flawless example. A spectacular mint error preserved in mint state condition is far rarer than the same error found after years of circulation. That's because most error coins immediately entered commerce, where they accumulated scratches, wear, and damage before anyone realized their significance. Professional authentication has become essential in today's market. Organizations like PCGS and NGC carefully inspect coins to confirm authenticity, identify genuine mint errors, and assign official grades. Certified examples inspire confidence among buyers and often achieve substantially stronger prices than uncertified coins because collectors know exactly what they're purchasing. Now let's talk about the numbers everyone wants to hear. Common circulated 2006 South Dakota quarters are generally worth only face value. Nice uncirculated examples can bring a small premium, while certified high-grade coins may sell for more depending on demand. Genuine mint errors, including major off-center strikes, dramatic double strikes, broad strikes, or significant planchet errors, can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the rarity and quality of the error. In the most extraordinary cases, an exceptionally rare, unique, and superbly preserved mint error with outstanding provenance could attract extremely aggressive bidding. Claims of values approaching $500,000 represent highly exceptional scenarios rather than typical market prices, and such outcomes would depend on an extraordinary combination of rarity, authentication, condition, and collector demand. That's why serious collectors never assume a coin is valuable based solely on its date. The story behind the coin matters. The error matters. The condition matters. The certification matters. Every one of those factors combines to determine whether a coin becomes an ordinary collectible or a museum-worthy treasure. Here's a question for you. When was the last time you actually looked at the quarters in your wallet? Not counted them, but really looked at them? Most people can remember exactly how much money they have, yet almost nobody remembers what coins they're carrying. That's exactly why hidden treasures continue to survive in circulation. The excitement surrounding rare state quarters has only grown in recent years as more collectors enter the hobby, and online auctions expose remarkable discoveries to a worldwide audience. Every major auction reminds collectors that unexpected rarities still appear from inherited collections, forgotten piggy banks, old cash registers, and decades-old coin jars. Each discovery inspires thousands of people to begin searching through their own change, hoping to uncover the next incredible find. The 2006 South Dakota quarter represents something much larger than a 25-cent coin. It symbolizes the possibility that history can still be hiding in plain sight. Every detail on its surface reflects American craftsmanship, while every authentic mint error tells the story of a split-second mistake that transformed an ordinary coin into something unforgettable. That combination of history, artistry, and rarity is exactly what makes numismatics such an exciting pursuit. And here's the truth that experienced collectors understand better than anyone else. Treasure hunting doesn't always happen with metal detectors on distant beaches. Sometimes it begins with a handful of change emptied onto your kitchen table. Sometimes the next remarkable discovery has been sitting in your pocket all week without you noticing. Opportunity often disguises itself as something ordinary. So before you spend another quarter, slow down. Examine the date. Study the design. Look carefully for unusual doubling, off-center strikes, missing details, clipped edges, dramatic die cracks, or anything that appears different from a normal coin. If something seems unusual, resist the urge to clean it, protect it carefully, and consider having it evaluated by a reputable professional grading service. That simple decision could preserve both the coin and its potential value. The world of rare coins continues to surprise even lifelong experts, and that's exactly what makes this hobby so captivating. Somewhere in America, another extraordinary coin is waiting to be discovered by someone who simply decided to pay attention instead of spending first and asking questions later. If this story changed the way you look at pocket change, make sure you stay with us, because in the next episode we'll reveal another astonishing American coin that many people overlook every single day. One with an even more mysterious minting error and a history that has stunned collectors across the country. You won't want to miss what could be the next hidden fortune sitting quietly in someone's pocket right now. Have you ever emptied your pockets at the end of the day without giving those quarters a second glance? Most people do. They spend them on coffee, gas, or a vending machine snack without realizing that one ordinary-looking coin could be worth far more than the car they drive, or even the house they live in. Imagine discovering that a single 2000 Virginia state quarter sitting quietly inside a forgotten coin jar could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly what keeps collectors searching every single day. While millions of these quarters entered circulation, only an incredibly tiny number possess the rare minting characteristics that transform them into legendary treasures. The difference between spending one and protecting one could literally be life-changing. Here's the question that every collector should ask. What if you've already held one of these rare quarters and unknowingly spent it? That possibility alone is enough to make experienced numismatists search through every roll of quarters they receive from the bank. Hidden wealth doesn't always come wrapped in gold bars or locked inside a safe. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, disguised as everyday pocket change. Today, we're uncovering the fascinating story behind the 2000 Virginia quarter, the rare error varieties that have shocked collectors, and why exceptional examples have attracted extraordinary attention in the coin market. Stay with us until the end because the final details may completely change the way you look at every quarter you receive. The Virginia State Quarter holds a special place in American coinage history. Released in the year 2000 as part of the famous 50 State Quarters program, the design celebrates the founding of Jamestown in 1607. 3 ships, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery, appear sailing toward the future beneath the inspiring words, Jamestown 1607 to 2007. It was a beautiful tribute to America's earliest English settlement and quickly became one of the most recognized state quarter designs ever produced. Hundreds of millions were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, while specially made proof versions were produced in San Francisco. On the surface, this seems like an extremely common coin, but experienced collectors know that rarity is rarely about the design itself. It is about the mistakes that occurred during production. This is where the story becomes far more interesting. Every coin passes through enormous presses operating with incredible force. Even the smallest mechanical problem, a damaged die, an improperly prepared planchet, or a slight misalignment, can create a coin unlike any other. Most errors are minor and carry little premium. But every so often, an extraordinary error escapes quality control, enters circulation, and quietly waits to be discovered years later. Those are the coins that become legends. Before we continue, take a quick look at the nearest coin jar in your home. Seriously, it might be sitting on a dresser, inside a kitchen drawer, or buried in your car's cup holder. That forgotten pile of pocket change could contain the very coin we're discussing today. Many valuable discoveries have been made in places just like that. One of the most desirable varieties involves dramatic off-center strikes. During minting, if the blank planchet shifts away from its correct position before being struck, part of the design disappears while the remaining details stay remarkably sharp. Minor off-center strikes are collectible, but when the date remains fully visible and the displacement is dramatic, collector demand increases substantially. These pieces become visual proof that something unusual happened during production. Another sought-after error is the double die variety. Under magnification, collectors search for noticeable doubling in letters, numbers, or design elements. Genuine double dies are created during the die manufacturing process itself, meaning every coin struck from that die carries the same doubling. Strong examples are uncommon, and because they require careful examination, many remain hidden in circulation for years before being identified. Die cracks and retained cut errors are also worth watching. As dies wear down after striking thousands of coins, tiny fractures can appear. Those fractures leave raised lines across the finished coin. In more advanced stages, pieces of the die may actually break away, producing large raised blobs known as cuds. Collectors appreciate these dramatic mint-made errors because they tell the story of machinery reaching its limits before replacement. Now here's something that surprises many new collectors. Not every valuable Virginia quarter has a spectacular-looking mistake. Some of the most valuable examples are simply preserved in astonishing condition. Coins graded at the highest certified levels by respected grading services become incredibly scarce because almost every circulating quarter picks up tiny scratches, contact marks, or wear almost immediately. Finding a flawless example decades after release becomes increasingly difficult with each passing year. Let's pause for a moment and think about that. Two people could each own a 2000 Virginia quarter. One spends it for 25 cents. The other sends it for professional grading and discovers it's among the finest examples known. Same design, same year, completely different financial outcome. That's the fascinating world of coin collecting. Another fascinating category includes struck-through errors. During minting, a foreign object such as grease, cloth fibers, or metal fragments can become trapped between the die and the planchet. The result is a missing or distorted portion of the design. Every struck-through error is unique because the obstruction is never exactly the same twice. Collectors love these one-of-a-kind production mistakes because they cannot be intentionally recreated by the mint. Broad strike errors are equally exciting. These occur when the retaining collar fails to contain the coin during striking. Without that collar, the metal spreads outward, creating a coin with an unusually wide diameter and missing edge details. Genuine broad strikes immediately stand out when compared with a normal quarter. Some collectors also search for clipped planchets. These coins were struck on blanks that were improperly cut from the metal strip before striking. The missing curved section creates a dramatic appearance that instantly catches the eye. Because these errors originate before striking even begins, they represent another fascinating stage of the minting process gone wrong. Here's another attention reset. If you have a roll of state quarters nearby, don't wait until tomorrow. Check it tonight. Rare coins have been discovered in inherited collections, cash register drawers, parking meter change, and even laundromats. Hidden treasure doesn't announce itself. It waits for someone who knows exactly what to look for. Now let's address the headline that captures everyone's imagination. The possibility of a quarter approaching $500,000 in value. Can an ordinary Virginia quarter automatically be worth $500,000? Absolutely not. Claims like that require important context. Values approaching that level would generally require an extraordinary combination of factors, such as an exceptionally dramatic and well-documented mint error, elite certified condition, remarkable rarity, and intense competition between collectors at a major auction. Those situations are extraordinarily uncommon, but they illustrate just how valuable a truly unique coin can become when rarity and demand collide. The coin market has changed dramatically over the past decade. Serious collectors are competing harder than ever for elite condition coins and spectacular mint errors. Population reports continue to demonstrate how few top-grade examples exist, while online auctions have connected buyers from around the world. Instead of competing with collectors in one city, rare coins now attract global attention. When two determined bidders refuse to lose, prices can climb far beyond expectations. This growing demand explains why experienced collectors never ignore modern coins simply because they appear common. Today's pocket change becomes tomorrow's rarity. History has repeatedly shown that overlooked modern issues can become highly desirable once collectors recognize just how few premium examples actually survived. Imagine opening an old family coin album one weekend. Between ordinary-looking state quarters sits a pristine 2000 Virginia quarter with a dramatic mint error. You almost overlook it because it resembles every other quarter you've seen. Then you notice something unusual. A closer inspection reveals details that shouldn't exist on a normal coin. One professional examination later, you discover you've been protecting a remarkable rarity without ever realizing it. Stories like this continue to inspire collectors across America because they remind us that extraordinary discoveries still happen. Perhaps the greatest lesson from the Virginia quarter isn't simply its potential value. It's the mindset it teaches. Every coin deserves a second look. Every date deserves inspection. Every mint mark deserves attention. The collector who develops patience and knowledge consistently sees opportunities that everyone else ignores. That's the difference between someone who spends history and someone who preserves it. The excitement surrounding rare state quarters continues to grow because each new discovery reminds us that America's circulating coinage still holds mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Somewhere, another remarkable Virginia quarter may still be hiding inside an old piggy bank, a forgotten coin roll, or a dusty collection that hasn't been opened in decades. The odds may be small, but every famous coin discovery once began as an unnoticed piece of pocket change. So before you spend another quarter, pause for just a moment. Examine the date. Look closely at the mint mark. Study the design under good lighting. Search for doubling, off-center strikes, die cracks, unusual surfaces, clipped planchets, or other genuine mint errors. That extra 30 seconds could become the most profitable half-minute of your collecting journey. The treasure hunt never truly ends because every handful of change carries possibility. And while the 2000 Virginia quarter continues fascinating collectors around the world, an even more astonishing modern coin may be waiting just around the corner. In our next episode, we'll uncover another ultra-rare American coin with a history so unusual and a value so surprising that you'll never look at your everyday pocket change the same way again. Make sure you're here, because the next incredible discovery could already be hiding in your own collection.